Victor?
Yes, I'm here, Tom.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you. Thank you very much for taking my call. I've been a long-time listener, and sorry, I'm from Russia, and I've been in the United States for about 17 years. I'm a citizen here, and so on. So I have a question for you. I lived in the Soviet Union under so-called socialism, but it was not a typical socialism because of the means of production was not in the hands of people. I know that. But several times I heard from you that in the United States of the country, I thought it was a typical capitalist country. You pronounced several times that we have certain features which are typical for socialism or maybe social democracy. And recently you pronounced something like police, firefighters, Medicare is kind of features for social democracy. I'm not quite completely understand this point. Can you devote like a few minutes, seconds to explain that for me? Thank you.
Victor, let me just clarify. Socialism and what is it that you wanted clarified?
Sorry, could you say it again? I have some echo on my line.
Sure. Are you asking me to define the difference between socialism and capitalism?
No, I know that. My question is about the specific features that you name that as features for social democracy, which is intrinsic in the United States, which is,
right, for it to work.
Understanding, is a typical capitalist country.
Yeah. I would say that, and this should be the metric by which we determine what is public and what is private. Public being government run, we all own it collectively. Private being privately owned, it's owned by capitalists, essentially. And the things that are the collective commons, the stuff that the air we all breathe, the water we all drink, the things like that, that stuff is clearly the function of government. Protecting our air, our water, our roads, things like that. But then there's a second category that's a little more of a gray area, at least in the United States, at least by our definitions, and that is what are called natural monopolies. Natural monopolies are, if you think of your home, how many power cables come into your house? Just one. How many water lines come into your house? Just one. How many septic lines leave your house? Just one. How many cable lines, in all probability, carrying the internet and cable television are coming into your house? Odds are it's just one. So in each one of those cases, those are places where the government should do one of two things. Either they should regulate those things as if they were utilities, so that the cost is low and the product is widely available, because it is on the edge of being the commons. It's a natural monopoly, so it is naturally anti-competitive. And capitalism only works in a competitive environment. You don't have a competitive environment if you've only got one water line or one power line coming into your house. So number one. And number two, if the government doesn't regulate it to function as a utility, then the government should simply provide it. So in the United States, for example, about half of all the electricity generated in this country is generated by state, county, or municipally owned power companies. The other half is generated by private for-profit power companies. And we saw how badly that worked out when Enron, took down the governor of California for political purposes, Gray Davis, with their rolling blackouts, just to get a Republican, just to get Arnold Schwarzenegger in office. This was part of the corruption of the energy systems by Ken Lay, who was running Enron at the time. So, it's like more proof that we really need to be asking, what are the natural monopolies that should be heavily regulated and or simply controlled or owned by government? Does that make sense? But on the other hand, private stuff, I don't want the government making my cars. I used to live in Germany. I remember the Trebis, the cars that were made by the East German government. They were god-awful things. I don't want the government making my blue jeans. I don't want the government making my clothes, or my computers or my TV or anything else that I'm just buying as a consumer. Did I answer your question, Victor? Is that what you were asking?
Thank you for answering, but not quite so. I would like some more to be more specific about police, fire department, Medicare. Why?
Police and fire departments are clearly part of the public commons. And this was envisioned by the founders. Police, fire, libraries, public roads, these are all things that we all collectively own. So they are entirely the function, they should be entirely the function of government. And we really got religion around fire departments. I believe after the Chicago fire, it used to be in Chicago that of the Chicago fire, the late 1800s, early 1900s, that you had your choice of different private fire departments, fire companies they were called, and you would buy a medallion from them for a year, which was your annual subscription, and you would put that medallion on the front of your house. And if your house caught on fire and the wrong fire company came by and saw it, they would just keep on driving. And people's houses burned down, and eventually a whole city burned down because it didn't work. So everybody got it. Hey, you know, this is an appropriate function of government. Victor, I've got to move along now, but thank you for the call and thanks for the question.